When I hear a sound that inspires me, something just clicks. I'm like, oh, like this feels good. I can't really explain more than that. It's just kind of a feeling that I get. I'm like, oh, like I just want to explore this, and I'll just start kind of jumping into that world, and whatever happens, happens. When I'm at home, usually with a guitar, it's maybe learning songs for some gig stuff or working on per line material. So that might be writing new material, that might be maybe learning a new technique or something, although that's rare, but I guess that should happen more often than it does. But yeah, so I'm just kind of doing whatever feels right at the moment, you know? Sometimes I'm just jamming, sometimes I'm writing, sometimes I'm recording. It just depends, really. I like having the options. Basically, I kind of scroll through until something pops out, and usually, like, there'll be a vibe that I'm just feeling that moment, and that will kind of be where I go. And just because there's, you know, endless of options, it doesn't mean I'm going to play through every one. Yeah, sure, I might scroll through a lot, but I might come up on, like, oh, this is like a super reverby one. I'm just kind of in like that kind of mode, and I'll just kind of jam out. Or I hit an auto filter, and I'm just feeling funky, and I want to like work on some more blues and jazz and funk phrasing, and it's just really inspiring to play with that. It just depends what I kind of find, but usually that will dictate, you know, like where I go. So when I first turned this on, we got to this auto filter, and I think I just kind of hit a like. And that just made me think Parliament, P-Funk, and I just started thinking more funk kind of. So I just kind of go with it, and I just start playing out and jamming and exploring what the sound is. Maybe it's not necessarily always musical. It's exploring how the sound reacts to just picking, you know, like. Just kind of exploring what I can do with the sound in the parameters that are set already, you know, and seeing where that goes. I don't necessarily think that having a variety of effects is necessary for a growth of playing, but I do think it's fun, and I think that it can unlock some styles in yourself that maybe you weren't aware of, or something that you didn't know that you were really that interested in. It can kind of bring you off into this other world. You might check out an auto filter and be like, I've never played an auto filter. I don't know what an auto filter really does or sounds like. And you play a regular power chord or something. And you're like, well, that's not really like a rock sound. I play rock music. And then you might think, okay, well, what does the auto filter do? Like, maybe you go to Google, who plays auto filter, who plays envelope filter, or whatever, and maybe Parliament comes up, or P-Funk, or maybe like Jerry Garcia from the Grateful Dead, who's like famous for using the auto filter, you know, like he was a little more like jazzy with it, and then that might bring you to listening to some songs that maybe are included in a list, or what has been used in the famous auto filter sound or something, and then you might get into that, and maybe like now you like Jerry Garcia, and you start listening to Grateful Dead, and that, because he's such a jazz influence player, now you're starting to be like, oh, well, what are all these notes? What are these chords? And you start looking into theory and all this stuff, and you know, who knows where that world takes you when you were coming from maybe a guy who played stuff like, you know, and now you're doing like, you know, whatever, jazz note. Whatever, I don't know, but not saying that's what will happen, but you never know where you can go. I added the Nano Big Muff because I love fuzz, but I also like to have it be separate from an effects, because if I'm using this, I don't want to have my effect be taken up by a fuzz. I might want to use a fuzz with some other weird sound. This could be an overdrive, this could be any one effect that you just really like to use a lot, so you have that in conjunction with the HX effects, and I just really like fuzz. I selected this Gold Top 2018 with P90s because I recently played one of these on SNL, and I fell in love with it. It has the thickness and richness of the Les Paul, but it has that kind of clarity and a little bit of that spanky and brightness from the P90, and I just thought the combination was incredible, and I'm really loving playing this thing. I'm really loving the small, low wattage amps that they have these days with tubes, because I was never a fan of solid state amps in general, especially the small solid state amps that they meant to be portable or in the for your bedroom. I just always thought they sounded fake and not organic, and they just no life to them. Now that they have tubes in them and they're making really good models, you really kind of get the vibe of playing, it's playing a real amp. It's just a small low wattage amp. That's it, and it sounds great. The reason I chose the orange Rocker 15 is because I've really enjoyed playing some orange amps that, I've tried the Rockaverb and other stuff as well. And the clean sound and the dirty sound are always really great, so I thought the fact that this had a clean and dirty channel, it's the low wattage, it just seemed to have everything in one small package. I definitely think there's value in playing music by yourself at home in a comfortable environment where you're not really worried about what music you're making. You're just exploring music and feeling the music, and ideally just having an emotional experience where you're just feeling music. That's the most beautiful thing that we can get from music. So yeah, I think that's an awesome thing to do. The space out thing, that can mean different things for everybody. There's some people that might be just soloing and going bananas, and I've certainly done that. For some people, it might be kind of shoegaze, reverb trails, and ambient. It could be really anything. Someone could just be really into funk playing and just be rocking and rolling for a long time and kind of zone out that way. So it's different for everybody. I think my zone out is probably the chill zone. So maybe something like the particle verb. It's always really nice to go back to an acoustic to kind of break it down to the basics and simplicity of chords and just the very organic feeling, just like wood and the sound coming out of the wood and your hands and no electronics. So yeah, I think that's kind of really a nice thing to have, especially in your room, just always have an acoustic. There's a certain reliability and playability that all Taylors have. I find that they all kind of are bright enough to cut through a mix, whether you're recording or playing live, which is really great. Obviously, the plug-in scenario and the onboard volume and the EQ and all that stuff is great. It always stays in tune really well. It's just really well made, and they feel nice. They're obviously, they're beautiful guitars. And also, what's really nice is they're really good for delicate playing and finger picking, which actually is not my forte and something I've wanted to work on forever, but it just really has an articulate top end, so it's really good for that. Or I'll just do some strumming, And sometimes I'll even just, obviously I'm comfortable with the pick, so I will usually, don't know that having the acoustical kind of thing versus electric, I don't know that that feeling is different for me, because I still like to choose instruments that resonate loudly. So I always get to feel that. If it doesn't resonate loudly in the body of the guitar, I tend to not use those guitars. So that's something I personally look for. But I do love the fact that you don't have to plug anything in. It's just right there, and it has such a more organic feeling to it and more rootsy. So it definitely brings out a different style for sure.